Elston Howard sends a grounder to Pee Wee Reese. And these Dodgers at last are world champions. Delirious with joy, teammates and fans mob the Brooklyn pitcher in wild acclaim. In the Dodger clubhouse is the pandemonium only a great victory can generate. And setting the zany pace are Gil Hodges, Duke Snyder, and Don Newcomb. This is Brooklyn's greatest baseball day. Newspapers shriek the tidings. Brooklyn Bridge goes topsy-turvy at this monumental event. The street signs rock along Flatbush Avenue, and downtown Brooklyn is almost upside down. The crowd files out, one which has showered cheers this day.
Hey, welcome to Delmonico's. My name is Anthony Saltalamacchia. My friends, all three of them, call me Salty. If you've never been in here before, well, you're probably a tourist with a dry throat looking to get out of the sweat bath that's Manhattan in August. I mean, slow time. Anybody got a few shekels fled weeks ago. But me, hey, I'm lucky to buy a Happy Meal, because the rich guys are all over at Toots Shores, paying $15 for a Manhattan. But my regulars, the gents and ladies that inhabit this day most days and nights, ain't going nowhere in August. Why? One simple reason. Baseball. Hey, you want to bitch about your ex-wife, your addict kid, your dying dog? Wrong bar. Wrong bartender. And me, well, somehow, through no fault of my own, I've lost wives, kids, houses, a dog or two, my sailboat. But through it all, I've had baseball. Never thrown a shit fight on me. I can count on 162 games every season. You know, long-term relationship, right? Without alimony, child support, you know. I mean, sure, it can break your heart. It can make you crazy, devastated, resigned, furious. If you're a Pirates fan, God help you, you suffer through 23 consecutive losing seasons. You're a Mets fan? Well, you got World Series titles in '69 and '86, and I don't know, maybe that's all you get. Although, hey, with your billionaire owner and Frankie Lindor playing MVP thing, you know, things are looking up. Huh? Yankees fan? You're playing 40 World Series and you win 27. Right. But hey, oh, Cubs fan. Any Cubs fans out there? Okay. A Cubs fan, your 108 years of drought are over. But cursed or blessed, you're a fan. You got what you got, what your great-grandfather gave you, and that's it. End of story. So, you might be asking yourselves, who are these regulars I was talking about? Well, for many seasons, these three bar stools here were occupied by three of the most charming and eccentric characters you're ever likely to meet. Now, on this bar stool here sat Manny the Rube Goldberg, baseball scout extraordinaire. Could have walked out of a story by Damon Runyon or Sholem Aleichem, right? 5'2", almost as wide, with a schnozzola that Jimmy Durante could be proud of. Smile while your heart is breaking. Smile. All right, I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. Okay, here's Manny. Saddle shoes, Bermuda shorts, alligator belt, Hawaiian shirt with the, a few mustard stains, right? Panama hat, oh yeah, and an unlit stogie he was always chewing on, right? He, Brighton Beach kid, second of 9 children. I used to tease him, I'd say, hey boy chick, sure your parents aren't Roman Catholic? Well, his parents, Abe and Goldie, were real estate agents. They made a fortune, enough to send all 9 kids to college. Well, Manny should have gone to yeshiva like his brothers, but instead, he joins the Red Sox organization, works his way up in the scouting department, becomes chief of scouting in the Caribbean League. Claim to fame? Discovers Rod Carew in Panama. Huh? Now, at least we forget Rod Carew, Hall of Famer, Rookie of the Year, 1967, 8-time All-Star, 3-time MVP. I mean, that alone should have put Manny in the Baseball Scouting Hall of Fame. Oh. On this bar stool here sat Dolores Salcedo Bernstein. Now, orphaned at 10, she was raised by her grandparents on the Lower East Side, when the Lower East Side was the Lower East Side. Huh? First language German, second language Yiddish, third language, a little English she picked up in elementary school. And the accent, now, very pronounced. Manny, what? I'm gonna walk from here to Bryant Park? What, are you my sugar nut? What kind of girl do you think I am? Huh? I'm gonna schlep my tuchus all the way to Jamaica Center, take the E-train. Not gonna happen, Manny. What's gonna happen, Mr. Big Shot, is you're gonna call me a cab. And after your big important game, if you got time, you'll come by for a little nosh, a little warm strudel. Well, hey, that was Dolores. Oh, some of you might remember Little Richard. You remember Little Richard, right? In his tune, he had a tune, The Girl Can't Help It. So, hey, poor man. Helpless. I mean, those curves. Huh? But you know what? He was on the road scouting from late October and the end of the World Series to the beginning of April in spring training. Not much time. But you know what? I think they liked it that way, and they made the best of it. And on this bar stool here sat the femme fatale of Delmonico's, the elegant and fragile Bunny Wanamaker, a faded blonde beauty, sole daughter of a scion of Philadelphia society, right? Long-legged, Rolex Oyster Perpetual, diamond bracelet with matching earrings, 18-karat gold Dunhill cigarette case and lighter, right? You get the picture? So, let's see, freshman year at Rosemary Hall, she gets knocked up by a choked senior. Well, Daddy flies her down to Puerto Rico for a Christmas break abortion, which she never gets over. Graduates summa cum laude from Vassar, goes to work on Madison Avenue in the Three Martini lunch days, where she meets Walter, a pedigreed trust funder from Westchester, you know, Deerfield, Amherst, Columbia Law School. You get the picture? Well, he's working his way up in the Red Sox organization. Well, Bunny and Walter get married. But baseball is a very demanding mistress, and Walter is gone too much of the time for too many years. And Bunny, well, she finds too many interesting ways to amuse herself. They stay married, but in name only. Meanwhile, Walter, suffering from too much booze and too many broads, dies in his cabin outside of Saratoga Springs, right? 46 years old. Body goes undiscovered for several weeks. Anyway, his attorney tracks down Bunny. She's on a yacht somewhere in the Caribbean, you know, St. Bart's or St. Croix, St. somewhere. You know, anyway, she used to come into the bar from time to time. I don't know, because I guess young Walter introduced herself to the place, and, well, there were still stories and laughs and memories, and, you know, I think a lot of nights she just didn't know where else to go. So both my mama and papa were born in Sicilia. They were childhood sweethearts, got married, and moved to New York's Little Italy. I was born in 1943. Three sisters followed after. Giovanna's the only one still alive. So by the time I was 10, Little Italy had been swallowed up by Chinatown, then the Irish, and we moved to East Tremont in the South Bronx. Now, up until the 60s, East Tremont was a respectable working class neighborhood. Then Robert Moses builds the Cross Bronx Expressway, and that was a kibosh. Destroyed neighborhoods, ravaged property values. By 65, the blacks and Latinos took possession of what was left. The decay was so bad that during the 1973 World Series, Howard Cosell, the legendary ABC broadcaster, was, "Folks, the fires you see on the video monitor behind me are burning in the South Bronx. Now, as I speak, the Bronx is burning." And it was, literally. Now, you know, I can't remember a time I didn't love baseball. I played since I was a tiny tot. I was a bright and motivated kid through elementary and middle school, and freshman year, I applied to Stuyvesant, right? A magnet school in Lower Manhattan. Well, I got accepted. It brought honor to my family. My nono, my grandpa, cried when he heard the news. I mean, he was a tough old guy. You could count on the fingers of one hand the number of times he... Anyway, so Peg Legs was our team name, and we managed to make the all-city playoffs every year. I was probably the smallest player accepted into school history. I mean, within 3 minutes of showing up for the first practice, they nicknamed me Pee-wee. After Pee-wee Reese, of course, who I got to see play live, after jumping the turnstiles at Ebbets Field. Little Louis Aparicio, Phil Rizzuto, these were my Guinea brethren, and I got to see them play live. Now, let's see. Oh, spring, yeah, spring of my freshman year was a magical time for me. When I showed up to the first practice, the coaches knew who I was, right? And, well, I thought maybe I'd have a chance of playing a little second base, you know. But there was this talented junior ahead of me, right? Well, the baseball god smiled on me. He didn't keep his grades up, lost his eligibility, and I won the starting spot. We were 6-2, and I was playing good enough to keep the starting spot. So, baseball has always had a special breed of fan. And when I was growing up as a kid, in the late 40s and early 50s, you had two choices. You could be a player, or you could be a geek. Now, Jeremy Kaufman, this hook-nosed, pimple-faced Jewish kid, lived up our block. He was a geek. His parents, he lived in, his parents owned a pharmacy up on 138th Street. They lived upstairs in an apartment. Smelled like a combination of wintergreen and chopped liver. Anyway, Nico, we're...
Well, he got sick, right?
Oh yeah. Some of you old geezers might remember the polio epidemic, 1949, 1950. Yeah. Well, Jeremy caught a devastating case. Paralyzed from the waist down, they put him in an iron lung, this contraption that looked like a medieval torture chamber, right? So his parents were two tiny individuals with identical black horn-rimmed glasses and a white lab coat with a pocket protector. They lived had a pharmacy up on East 138th Street, lived upstairs, an apartment that smelled like chopped liver and wintergreen. Every other day, my mama would say to me, "Por ragazzo del Dio, por l'amore, hey, you got to go see Jeremy. Here, take of these raviolis." Right. So, I'd take the covered dish and my box of baseball cards and trudge up to Jeremy's place. Now, me, I knew the front of the card, you know, the name, the face, the team. But Jeremy, he knew the front and the back of the card, right? Hometown, date of birth, years in the majors, home runs, RBIs, awards, the whole Megillah. Well, he survived, thank God. He spent his rest of his life on braces, hearing gone in one ear, But you know what? He went on to become a CPA with a nice little house out somewhere in the Five Towns. You know, wife, kids, the whole Leave It to Beaver thing. You got a cough drop there? Hey, don't you love how baseball's lexicon has permeated every cranny of American life? I mean, go to Denny's and order a grand slam. Remember that California law, 3 strikes and you're out? What about the old curveball? Ever had a curveball thrown at you like something out of nowhere? Ooh, I wasn't expecting that. Have you ever struck out on a business deal? You know, where your partner cuts you out of your share of the commission? Then you and your partner hit it out at a park for 20 grand and you go to Longhorn for a steak dinner? Hey, ever gotten into a pickle? You know, when one of your girlfriends finds out you're married? Yeah. Hey, here's one for you. Bottom of the ninth, tie game, right? This kid comes to the plate, I don't know, he's from Double-A Dubuque or somewhere, in his first major league appearance, and hits a grand salami. Then you find out your ex-college roommate's a switch hitter. I know. Huh? You get called in on your day off to pinch hit for some kid's work. Hey, baseball. Kind of like mom or apple pie. Quintessentially American. Then there's the great matter of my baseball cards, which I kept carefully sorted by teams in my catch shoebox. So I had the complete starting lineup of the 1958 Milwaukee Braves. I had the extra special ones of Maris and Mantle and Mays tucked aside here. Hey, matter of fact, I had Maris's rookie card and the entire starting lineup for the 1958 Milwaukee Braves, all carefully put away in my closet. Then I come home from Christmas break after my first semester at Hofstra, and they're gone. Gone. Mamma mia! Had taken my room, turned it into the guest room, got rid of all that childish junk. Thank God years later I found them in the attic of my parents' house. But at the time, she didn't realize those cards were the chronicle of my entire childhood. I mean, some of them served as noisemakers in the spokes of my 1951 Schwinn Phantom, right? The one with the black frame, red seat, matching chain guard, which I wrecked going down the hill behind William Penn Elementary School. Then they stick me with Giovanna's bike, right? The one with the pink flower design, a little basket in the front, a bell ring. Oh, Christ. I had to wait till the following Christmas to get a new bike. Dolce Jesus. So, my 4 years that, all right, my 5 years of Stuyvesant didn't go to waste. I actually got an education. Straight A's in English, straight F's in math. But you know what? I learned to love great writing. beginning with baseball writing, of course, and Roger Kahn's beautiful requiem to his 1951 Brooklyn Bums, The Boys of Summer. Right? So I've kept this folder of my baseball writing, and these are all of my favorite pieces. There's one that I treasure above all the rest. It's by Bart Giamatti, ex-president of Yale University and briefly baseball commissioner. Let me read this to you. Baseball breaks your heart. It's designed to break your heart. The game begins in the spring and blossoms in the summer, filling the afternoons and the evenings. And then, as soon as the chill rains come, it stops, and it leaves you to face the fall all alone. You count on it, rely on it to buffer the passage of time, to keep the memory of sunshine and high skies alive. And then, just when the days are all twilight and you need it the most, it stops. Today, October 31st, a Sunday of rain and leaf-clogged drains and slick streets, it stopped and summer was gone. Oh, hey, I'm remembering now. There was this kid who used to come into the bar most nights. Nice kid, you know, quiet, wore a beat-up old Mets jacket and cap. Would sit here right at this table with his 3-ring binder stuffed with papers, order one Knickerbocker, and scribble the whole night away. Then he was gone. Gone. I never saw him again. Then, fast forward to 2003, and I read in the Post, the kid's got a play on Broadway called Take Me Out, right? Wins a Pulitzer and a Tony. Hey, I figured that he wrote most of that piece right here at this table. Another one, okay? Ken Burns, right? The great documentarian. In his introduction to his documentary on baseball. Another thing I like is the home run trot. Not the mad dash around the bases when it's an inside the park home run. I'm talking about that graceful little canter when the ball has been crushed and the outcome is not in doubt. And what I like about it, it's so unnecessary. The ball is gone. And can anyone doubt that a man capable of launching a ball 500 feet is somehow going to fail to touch a base when he's running uninterfered with? For all intents and purposes, the game at that moment is not being played. So instead, play is celebrated for suspended for celebration. A man rounds 4 bases, and if he's with the home team, the crowd has a catharsis. And I think what's best about us is manifested in our desire to show respect for each other. Isn't that what we do in our ceremonies? And isn't in the linkage between the generations that rests the real magic of baseball? A game that is still played today by the same basic rules and at the same pace as it was played 100 years ago. There are moments in a baseball game that are particularly significant. And in this case, a particularly significant moment in a particularly significant game. And I'm talking 1998 Pirates Braves, Game 7 of the League Championship Series, right? Winner goes on to the World Series. So, bottom of the 9th inning. The Braves are up by 1 run. The tying run is on second base in the person of Sid Bream, this lumbering hulk of a first baseman, right? So Andy Van Slyke comes to the plate and drives a sharp single to right field. Now, Andrew Jones, who just happens to have the best arm in baseball at the time, fields it cleanly and hurls a bullet to Javi Lopez, the Braves all-star catcher, who makes a swipe tag across home plate. Out by a fraction of an inch. A fraction of an inch from going to the World Series. The entire city of Pittsburgh lets out a collective gasp that could be heard to this day in the Steel City. Hey, Nico.
Yeah, well, that's a moment, so...
I love it, the moment.
Yeah. Closer, right?
Hey, yeah. All right, so let's see. One of the most stupefying and creative and amazing moments in a baseball game often occurs in the ninth inning of a close game. Now, that's what a manager brings to the plate, a particularly gifted pitcher. If he gets the final 3 outs, he gets what's called a save. Gives up the winning run, it's a blown save, right? Now, every team has one of these boys on the roster called the closer. Well, hey, there are closers in other realms of human activity, right? Now, some of you remember the guy at the car dealership, right? He's going into the manager's office. He's going to get you the deal of a century on that 1962 Plymouth Fury. Get you the chrome wire wheel set, radio, heater, no money down, no payments for 30 days. Huh? Well, the baseball closer is a different animal. He's the Superman. Now, I'm not talking DC Comics version. I mean Nietzsche. He's an individual that combines speed, strength, power, confidence, equanimity, and last but not least, luck. He's the one you send to the mound in the ninth inning of the World Series, right? There are 2 outs. Bases are loaded. There are cleanup hitters coming to the plate. The guy who's leading the league in RBIs. But relax, folks. You got your closer out there. And he will throw that curveball, that high heat, that slider, and that batter will swing. And yes, folks, the champagne will flow. Because Superman does not fail. You know, a lot of nights.
I was thinking you're here, a couple of heroes you want to tell them about, right?
Oh, yeah.
A couple of heroes.
Right.
You come
Yeah.
from the South
So,
Bronx, but yeah.
Yeah. You know, coming from the South Bronx, you would have thunk I was a Yankees fan, right? I mean, here's a team that's won more World Series than Jesus' all-time All-Stars. But you know what? I hated the Yankees. My whole family hated the Yankees. Babe, the blubber and whale, Ruth, Moby Dick and pinstripes. Huh? But there was one notable exception. Lou Gehrig, the Iron Man, Sweet Lou. Now, I have this very vivid memory as just a young kid sitting on the carpet at the base of our old Philco radio, you know, the one with the cherrywood cabinet, listening to his farewell speech. His words still echo in my mind, no, in my heart. It was a moment that's forever frozen in my memory.
You look around, wouldn't you consider it privilege to associate yourself with such a fine-looking man as is standing in uniform in this ballpark today? That I might have been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for. Thank you.
Roy Campanella had everything you could want in a catcher. A wide girth to cover the plate, gifted pitch caller, power hitter, team leader. Well, hey, what do we got here, Dick?
Well, it wasn't he was like...
Yeah, 5'9", 190 pounds. He was the proverbial brick shit house. A Dodger scout famously said when he first saw him play, we looked at him, and there he was. Well, his career was cut tragically short. On a freezing night, December 28, 1958, while driving home in a rented Chevy Bel Air station wagon, he hits a patch of ice on DeSource Lane in Glen Cove. The car slides and slams into a telephone pole, then it rolls, and he breaks his neck. This bear of a man turned into a paraplegic. But undaunted, with courage and humility, he went on to be a mentor, scout, and inspiration for generations of Dodger catchers. Huh? Hey, rest in peace, Campy. So, some nights...
But, aren't you going to tell him about some bad guys?
Oh, yeah. You know, baseball has always been plagued by scandal. And in 1883, Pud Galvin, an early user of PEDs, performance-enhancing drugs, was a vocal proponent of his drug of choice, the brown sequoia elixir, a testosterone substance derived from the testicles of pigs. Pigs. Well, the cheating went on right into the 90s, where, in the steroid era, where Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens perjured themselves in congressional testimony, which, you know, had no effect. I mean, today's players are microdosing to avoid detection.
What about the scandal too? I mean, it was a whole team, right, in the 20s?
Oh, well, it was not confined to individual players.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? In 1919, 8 Chicago White Sox players were accused of throwing the World Series to the Cincinnati Reds in exchange for cash from a gambling syndicate. Now, small potatoes compared to the now infamous ninth inning of the 2017 World Series between the Dodgers and the Astros, right? The game is tied, okay? Clayton Kershaw is on the mound against Jose Altuve. Now, Kershaw arguably is the best pitcher in the game at that time. So the count is 2-2, right? Now, Carlos Beltran, the bench coach, right, picks up the sign from a hidden camera and transmits it to Altuve by a hidden wire. Now, Kershaw goes into his famous windup, but Altuve, knowing exactly what's coming, hits the game-winning walk-off home run. The Dodgers are robbed of their best chance in 2 decades for a World Series title. Hey, and what is Rob Manfred, the most gutless and slavering commissioner in the long history of baseball, do? Sanctions the owners with the loss of a draft pick or two, or a penny ante fine of a few $1 million. I mean, if he had even a semblance of a pair of balls, he would have taken the managers and the players and banned them from life. He would have stripped the Red Sox and the Astros of their World Series title. Hey, another little transgression. Oh, there it is. The ball. So, you know, in order to increase attendance, Manfred has the ball juiced. In other words, the ball itself has a more tightly wound core, so that in 2018, there were more home runs hit than in the previous 15 years. More home runs, more greater attendance, more television adverts. Hey, you get the picture. So, you know...
Hey, Salty, tell
Yeah.
him about, what's his name, the night watchman, would you?
Oh, sure. From 1974 to 1985, a night watchman from Kansas forever changed the game of baseball. An amateur devourer of baseball statistics, he begins this obsessive project on the metrics of the game and publishes his first edition of the historical baseball abstract. Well, it was revolutionary and forever changed the way the game is played and the way young players are developed. Now, teams employ staffs of specialists to evaluate and develop young players based on what James called sabermetrics. Now, decade by decade, he looked at the top 100 players in each position and determined precise values for each offensive and defensive outcome for each at bat. Now, a GM can evaluate some farm kid from Iowa before signing him to a multi-million-dollar contract. You've got to consider everything. The era they were playing in. Compare them to every other player that has played the position. Regular season or playoffs, home or away, everything. I mean everything, right? So, example, go to Denver, right? Coors Field, a mile high. The ball's gonna fly a mile high. Go to San Diego, 5 feet above sea level. Hey, you might hit a pelican flying over shortstop. But you get the swing. You get my point, right? The same swing in a 30 mile an hour Chicago headwind is going to be different than 100-degree breeze in Phoenix. But relax. Our boy Bill's got you covered. Sweet little stat called WRC plus figures in the ballparks. Rest in peace, Manny. R.I.P. So, a lot of nights in November, I would change into my street clothes, lock up, set the alarm, and well, this is going to sound strange, but I swear I heard voices, the sound of laughter, glasses clinking, and I swear it was them, right? Duke giving Pee Wee a raft of shit for blowing a double play. Now, Duke Snyder, classy guy, always had time to talk to a kid, sign an autograph. This picture is taken right before he hit the final home run in Ebbets Field. The following year, the Dodgers moved to LA, and entire borough takes a punch in the gut. No, in the heart. And let's not forget Junior Gilliam, or Carl. Oh, here, Carl, the Reading rifle Furillo, could gun down a runner at third from deep in right field. And this guy, Jackie Robinson, hey, we all know about Jackie Robinson, because on April 17, 1947, he walked onto the field at Ebbets Field, and that was the first appearance by a black player in Major League history. For the next 9 years, he went on to have this unbelievable career, right? With a lifetime batting average of 311 and 139 home runs. So his legacy as a player and as a civil rights advocate and as a shrewd businessman is unmatched in baseball history. What else? Hey, let's not forget Pee Wee Reese, my namesake, right? Only Dodger to play on every dynasty team in 1941 to 1956. 3-time MVP, 8-time All-Star. World Series hitting machine, 46 dingers, right? 3 behind Ted Williams, the greatest hitter in the history of the game. And here's Gil Hodges, right? Now, numero uno, the glue that held the bums together. An all-star first baseman in the Mets' inaugural season in 1962. He went on to manage the Mets from 1967 to 1972, winning a World Series in 1969. And Johnny Padres, right, who on 3 days rest pitched a complete game shutout against the Yankees to give the Dodgers their first World Series title. Now, Lorenzo used to bend my ear about these infamous bums. You know, there was a time they used to come into the bar after games, right? Hey, listen, you know, this is a baseball bar, not a bunch of flat screens on every game. This was their home away from home, huh? You get the picture. So, some of you might remember back at the beginning of this whole deal, I talked about how I'd lost wives, kids, houses, a dog or two, right, my sailboat. But through it all, I had baseball. Baseball. An entertainment, a game, really sustained me through the most devastating events in my life. The fact is, I lost a kid to AIDS, never copped to my part in it. Did I ask myself what kind of a parent was I? Was I emotionally available to him when he needed me? No. I was more concerned with how my friends and family were going to judge me. I drove him away. When he was dying, I went to him and I asked for his forgiveness. And it was too late. He couldn't hear me, but I could see the pain in his eyes. And wives? No. Hey, I blew up a marriage in my early 20s, but then Angelina, the love of my life for 31 years, mother of my son, business partner, companion, confidant, lover. And what do? Go home with the customer once too many times. I ripped a gash in her heart. She tried to forgive me, but she couldn't. She threw me out. Should have done it years before. I was devastated, I never recovered, never found another woman in my life. And that's when I started drinking. Heavy. A lot of mornings I found myself right here on the floor of the bar. But once again, the baseball gods came to my rescue. My friend Archie dragged me kicking and screaming to an AA meeting. I got sober. I finally found some kind of a spiritual core. You know, grieving will do that for you. So here I am all these years later, packing up pictures of my old heroes. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Taking the humor along with my memories, disappointments, heartbreaks. Hey, it's been a life, my life. And I gotta say, baseball's brought me a lot of joy. Matter of fact, I was watching the Mets last night, right? And so they're up by a run. It's the ninth inning. And the winning and tying runner on second and third. There's a hard hit ball. Frankie Lindor fields it cleanly, hurls a bullet behind his back to Jeff McNeil, who fires a bullet to home plate. Out by a fraction of an inch, right? Another moment. Sure. I've harbored some delusions. I mean, at 5'5", 125 pounds, I never had a realistic chance of playing pro ball, even the developmental leagues. But what are we without our delusions, our failures, heartbroken dreams? Hey, I got a lot of joy out of sharing my story with you tonight. I hope you got a little bit of joy too, because I got 162 games to look forward to. All right? Hey, time to shut this place down. Now, please, drive carefully. Some of you old geezers don't see too good at night.